Good morning, Aletheia Church family. I'm really excited this morning because we are going to start to unpack one of my favorite passages in the entire Bible. There are certain metaphors that stick with me and that minister to me in the scriptures, and this is one of the biggest ones. In Hebrews chapter 6, the author describes the Christian hope as an anchor of the soul. I love this. And my bet is that wherever you are and whatever you're going through and however you're handling this moment in time, what you need is exactly what I need, which is an anchor of the soul. So I want to take a few of these episodes and unpack this verse and see what this anchor is, what the nature of this hope is, and how we can lay hold of it. So this is Hebrews 6, verse 19, and I'm reading it out of F.F. Bruce's translation, just because I like the flow a little bit better. Here's what it says, Hebrews 6:19. We have this hope as an anchor of the soul, secure and stable, entering into the inner side of the sanctuary curtain. The first question that we're going to answer is, what is the anchor? What is this anchor of the soul? And in the verse, the short answer is the hope that the author is talking about. Now we have to ask the question, what is the hope the author is talking about? The answer to that is a few verses earlier, where he says in verse 13 and 14, when God made a promise to Abraham, he said this, surely I will bless you and multiply you. So in the author's mind, God's promise to Abraham to bless him and multiply him is this hope that is an anchor of the soul. Now, God's promise to Abraham is so important, and it's much more than just God taking care of this one man, thousands of years ago. This is a recapturing of God's intention for humanity and for the entire world. He says to Abraham, I'm going to bless you and I'm going to multiply you. And this is almost like a hyperlink back to what God says when he creates humans in the first place in Genesis chapter 1. And in verse 28, what does he tell them? He says, be fruitful and multiply. Fill the earth and subdue it. God's intention for humanity was to go into all the world and fill it and bring about creativity and beauty and order. It's this intention for human beings. Genesis chapter 3, sin ruins that all. Yet now, God's promise to Abraham is a promise to recapture that hope of a world made whole. That is the anchor of the soul. God's promise that he is making the world whole. Now think about that. At this time, when you're quarantined and that wave of panic washes over you, what is that feeling sound like? It sounds like and feels like the world is falling apart. But listen to this promise of the scriptures. That for those who follow Jesus, this is the hope. God is making the world whole. Even on the darkest days, even on the most panic-ridden days, the world is not falling apart. Friends, the world is not falling apart. God is making the world whole. And if you believe in Jesus, that hope is an anchor of the soul. Let that minister to you today as you go throughout your day. The assurance that God isn't confused, he's not lost, he's not taken by surprise. He is making the world whole. He will make the world whole. And let that be an anchor for your soul. Now tomorrow we're going to talk about how this huge promise of a hope can even be believed in the first place. But for right now, just be assured, God is making the world whole. And let that be an anchor for your soul today. God bless you.